we'll definitely touch on those.
And when the Lamb opened the seventh seal, silence covered the sky.
One of the brothers on the groups had asked about repatriation, about dealing with the subject matter of repatriation, and it's been a little while in coming, but I want to give you a overview. It's like a tutorial on repatriation. First of all, what's in the word repatriation? We should understand what that word repatriation. Now, the so-called conventional wisdom, or the worldly way, or the usual way of dealing with that subject matter, means, well, we're going to leave, say, the Western Hemisphere, say Jamaica or the Caribbean or America, and we're going to go to Africa. That's the conventional view of what repatriation means, because the conventional wisdom that we came from Africa was stolen or brought from Africa, so we just return to Africa, and that is repatriating. So when someone goes forward to Africa and they decide to live there, the idea is that they have repatriated. But somehow this idea of repatriation has not been working out, and this is what we need to address. This idea of repatriation, oh my goodness. No, I just saw something on TV. It hasn't been working out. That whole chimp thing. Like almost like talk about the humanized animals versus the true human being. Now, if you look at it from a humanized animal perspective, or a human becoming animalized perspective, well, of course, it basically would mean what the society would tell you that it means. But repatriation at its root means returning to the Father. So in a biblical, a scriptural way, the true interpretation or understanding of repatriation really means returning to God, or repentance, or in the Koine Greek, the metanoia. That's what repatriation would mean. It means repentance, returning to God, returning to the first principle, returning to the source, returning to the original image and after the original likeness in which we were created in the beginning. So repatriation means to return to the Father. A good thing that you can do, and to understand the etymological, which means the true meaning of words. You understand? So you understand what words really mean. Because unlike nowadays society and this society of humanized animals, or humans that have been animalized or instinctualized, very few really understand what the true meaning of words. So this is what contributes to the prophetic Babylon. You understand? Babylon, confusion, a confusion of tongues. So when people say words, other people think they understand what is meant by those words, but many of the people who use the words don't understand what the words are really meant. So when you're studying things like the Bible, and you're studying things like, say, history, you understand, you have to remember that people from that generation, that time, and some of those academic scholars and conscious people who have endeavored to write and endeavored to communicate the truth or information to people, many of them do understand what words really mean. You understand? So a good exercise is to obtain, say, a Webster's New World College or Collegiate Dictionary, because you'll find that in some dictionaries you have the etymological brackets where the word really comes from. You understand? As well as the 1, 2, 3 that you usually find when you look up a definition of a word in a dictionary, which is really for diction and not definition, but you have to understand that right there. But when you go to look up these words in, say, dictionaries, English dictionaries that is, you will find that many of the newer dictionaries don't have etymological brackets. So I highly suggest to get a collegiate, like a Webster's dictionary, if you really seek to become a disciple or a student of the truth. You understand? If you want to become a student of the truth, you need to start to investigate words. Don't get all caught up, you understand, in the irrationality and contradiction of these things, but do understand that there is a lot of that irrationality, contradiction, out of contextness of words. So a simple subject matter like repatriation takes on a lot of different meanings for a lot of different people, but no one ever goes to, well, what does the word itself really mean? Because if you were to investigate what the word really means, you'll find something out very interesting. And I like to share this within this, what does repatriation, the meaning of repatriation. So going to the third edition of the Webster's New World College Dictionary. After all, if it's their language, we need to understand that. How to make a slave sought to effectively strip the Hebrews, us, our ancestors, and even us today, of the real knowledge of both our original language, you understand? Our ancient languages, as well as the language that we're speaking, the so-called English language that we're speaking today. So anyway, looking up the word repatriation, we find something very interesting. Repatriate, when we look at the etymological brackets, it's from late Latins, from repatriatus, past participle, I think, of repatriare, and it says see repair, and it says see repair, and it has a subset 2 next to that, and close etymological brackets. And it says to send back or return. Now this is the connotative. This is what's called the connotative meaning of the word. It says to send back or return to the country of birth, comma, citizenship, comma, or allegiance, to repatriate prisoners of war. And we as Ethiopian, rather Hebrew Ethiopians, we are Hebrew Ethiopians. Even though we say Ethiopian Hebrews, a lot of our ancestors said that around the turn of the century. You know what I'm saying? But we are Hebrews. First and foremost, they are Hebrews. And we're going to touch on what is the etymological, which means the etymos, the true logos, the true logic, the true logos, the true word. In the beginning was the word was with God, and the word was God. So we need to understand what the word. We as Rastafari, we say word, sound, and power. You know what I'm saying? But if we don't understand the word, then regardless of the sound, you know what I'm saying, the power is going to be very duplicitous. You understand? Or it's going to be very arbitrary, in other words. You understand? And therefore, it's not really scientific. It's not gnosis. It's not epignosis. It's not knowledge. It's ignorance if we pursue it that way. So now when we look at repatriate, we both get the etymological, which means the late Latin repatriatus, past participle of repatriare, and says see repair, close etymological bracket. So let's just focus right there. You understand? Because we can touch on what it means in the world context of today, which is what they say right here, to send back or return to the country, or to one's country of birth, or citizenship, or allegiance. So when we as Rastafari say that we seek to repatriate to Ethiopia, or we seek to repatriate to Africa, you know what I'm saying? We seek to repatriate to Africa. Ones will say, well, he wasn't born in Africa. Okay, he wasn't born in Africa. But according to the definition, it says citizenship or allegiance in this modern day world, nation state kind of system, Gentile system, and of the world Gentile system. We don't have citizenship in Africa. We don't have citizenship as lost sheep of the house of the Beta Israel in Ethiopia. We don't have citizenship. We did, and we had the potential under Haile Selassie, Siyuma Exziabir. You understand? We had that ability to have citizenship. And this is what a lot of people don't know when we talk about Ethiopian World and Ethiopian World Federation and Dr. Malaku, Beyan. You understand? And we speak about that generation right there and the works they did. Have a story that has not been told to most people. We did have the ability to have citizenship. Remember, we were given the land grant at the very same time that you could say the crypto Jews got the state of Israel, and it was backed by the Rothschild and the bankers and those part of that whole Illuminati and Freemasonic kind of thing right there. But at the very same time, to us, the lost sheep of the house of Israel, the Beta Israel over here in the West, Kedamawi Haile Selassie, you understand, the ruling and the reigning King of Kings of Ethiopia, you understand, established the ability for us to repatriate in the fullest sense of what that word means. But now we need to understand the basic sense, the basic logic of repatriate and what does repatriate really means. So it says to see the word repair. Now this is very interesting. Let's look at the word repair. Now when we go to the word repair, there's two repair. There is repair 1 and there's repair 2. The dictionary Webster suggests to go to repair 2. So let's go to repair 2. It says in the open etymologic bracket, it says ME, Middle English. It says repairing, and it's now derived from Old French repare, repar, and from the late Latin, derived from late Latin, repatriare, and it's derived from Latin, and in Latin, at the Latin root of the word repair, it means means back, plus patria, and they said patria means native country, and that's derived, now they say, from terra or patria, the land of one's father, and that's the feminine of patrius, and it's derived from pater. You understand? Now all this deriving of this word is derived from the root pater, which means father. So at the root of it is father. Now who is the father, the true father of modern Africa? You understand? But Africa has suffered, you understand, an abortion. Modern Africa has suffered an abortion. This new birth of Africa, you understand, a large extent of it has been aborted. And this is where we get to the bloodshed, the tribal war, and the Rwandas, and the